got married at 18. You're a child bride.
I think when Baby Doll came out, I was at my lowest. He's actually cheated me in many other ways over the last 5 years.
But you put that straight on Twitter.
I did, and I was cussed for it.
Kanika, welcome to Achievers.
Thank you so much for
I
having me.
am so delighted to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
Now, Kanika, you started your music career at a very young age.
Yeah.
And what inspired to learn classical music? It's a very mature approach for a very young girl.
It was not my decision. It was my parents' decision. How any parent, when you're a 5 or a 6 or a 7-year-old, they send you to different classes of dance and of music and learning piano. So same way my parents, put me into different classes when I was 6 years old. And I did Kathak for 5 years too.
Oh, wow.
Although I don't think I can dance to save my life at the moment. But I did a bit of dancing, bit of, I used to play piano and I started learning vocal. And it was classical vocal, which I kind of excelled in. And, by the time I was 11, I was singing on All India Radio, which was at the time quite a big deal.
Yes.
And as a child artist.
Especially coming from a place like Lucknow, it wasn't like you were in Bombay in the heart of, all the action.
Yeah. No, I don't come from a musical or a theatre background in any way. But my family is just like a very simple, normal North Indian family, that loves music and cinema and,
You have a brother also, right?
I have a brother.
How many siblings are you all together?
It's me and my real brother.
Okay.
But I come from a joint family, so, I think I have so many cousins and we're all like, I like to say I have lots of brothers and sisters, which is quite cute.
What was your life like in Lucknow?
A very innocent, simple, and a very beautiful, happy upbringing, I would say.
What was your relationship like with your parents?
Just very innocent and very simple. My parents are very normal, down to earth.
But what was your personality like growing up?
Simple people.
Yeah, some kids are very boisterous, some girls are very shy, some girls are little drama queens. What were you like?
I think I was very naughty, but not exactly a drama queen then. I'm not sure about now, but but I was a very naughty girl.
Okay.
Like any other little child I was not quiet for sure.
What surprised me when I was reading about your life is that you were somebody who was so in love with music since a very young age.
Yeah.
And, you were studying music and you got married at 18. You were a child bride. How did that happen? Did you want to get married at 18?
No, I mean, it's not about wanting. At the age of 17 when I was engaged, I didn't quite probably know what I was doing. I don't like to say that, but
17 is very young.
Yeah, very young. I guess I met a man who was in love, and he probably knew much more than I. He knew what he was doing more than I did.
Yes.
At the time, and
but you must have
I have no regrets. I think it was a great decision at the time, and it's kind of taught me a lot, and I'm
of course.
in a good place.
What attracted you to him? What attracted him to you? Was it your striking beauty? Because obviously you do know you're a very beautiful woman.
I think he's the best person to ask that question.
You're dodging my question.
Oh.
But I'm sure it was the beauty amongst other things. But was your then husband supportive of your musicality or your love for music?
Yeah, he was. He truly was a great guy, and we're friends. And even then, he was very supportive. He knew what he was getting into, and then later on, it was kind of my decision to take a break.
Now, from Lucknow to dreams of music, to London, to motherhood, to school runs. What was London life like for you?
London life.
Because we know a lot about Kanika, the post your, fame, music and so on, but very little about the Kanika before that.
Just like any other normal housewife and any other, young mom.
Yes. Yummy mummy.
Well, No, I was a very young mother, and you know, thank God I have all these little
Yes.
babies that I do, and you know, we sometimes laugh. We're best friends, and we
Yes.
laugh that we're all growing up together.
Yes.
So and we have a very beautiful relationship. And
You had 3 kids in your 20s.
yeah, early 20s.
Early
like literally
20s.
one after the other.
Exactly. What was your mindset like then? Were you just, so busy with your children that...
Yeah, my life was just about you know, waking up in the morning and doing a normal school run.
Yes.
Going to the gym and just a normal, simple life, and traveling a bit and shopping and like any other
Yes,
normal,
yeah.
housewife, doing the lunches and the social
The social
drama.
scene, yes.
So
Now, your ex-husband was a wealthy man. Do you feel that when a girl gets married young and when you have, you're living in wealth and all that, that it somehow kills your ambition when you're not really required to work?
I don't know if it kills you. It's very personal. I think it depends on person to person. I actually always tried to use my time constructively, even when I was married and even when I was having my babies. I always was doing something or the other, either helping him in his work or kind of doing my own thing in fashion or clothes or
Yes.
charity work
Yeah.
or, I was involved with Pratham almost 12 years ago.
I know. You're
it's
still
kind of-
you're still the brand
Yeah,
ambassador.
well,
You're now the brand
now I'm
ambassador
the
for Pratham.
ambassador, which
Yes.
is, I'm very honored to be. Thank you. And, but yeah, I always like to kind of use my time constructively.
Now, before we discuss your singing, what people don't know is you also have a fashion label, a brand called Kanika. So when did you start designing clothes?
Well, I think that's like kind of wrong information a little bit.
Tell me.
It's not, I don't have a fashion label yet. I probably will do one day. I used to.
But there is
help-
information on, various newspapers and so on and so forth
Well,
that
my
you
mother,
opened a brand called Kanika.
being from Lucknow, my mother almost 22 years ago started a little charity called Kalakriti. Just giving work to the less fortunate, a lot of women around the city, and basically, teaching them and reviving art,
Yes.
the hand embroideries, old-time hand embroideries, different techniques. And she used to do a lot of, she used to do job work for a lot of designers. And export work. And then when I had spare time, I used to kind of help her a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's about it, really. Bringing it to London a little bit, showcasing in a small trunk show over,
Yes.
a nice high tea or something. Just something.
Yeah, because there's so much written about you. It's good we're discussing this so we know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. Because you don't have hold over what people write about you.
Exactly.
They write so many things which are so far away from the truth.
Were you also a muse for Italian designers? Is that correct?
Well, I've been very closely. Well, the Italian designers don't have a word called muse. They don't associate with a word like that.
Yes.
They don't have anything called a muse, really. If
And
you actually
again,
talk-
and again, this is widely written that you were.
and but that's what we perceive it as.
Yes.
I was very closely, I have a great relationship with some of the brands. I was wearing their clothes. I walked the ramp for Ferretti, for
Yes.
the Couture Week. I've done some shoots for the Vogue magazines in Italy and in France. With the Vuitton, but it was not professional. It was all very social, in terms of more friendly than
And
how
was
do I
that-
put it right?
Was that fun? Did you enjoy doing that?
Of course.
Yeah?
I mean, I love fashion, and I'm very much getting back into it.
Okay.
Back in the fashion week. It's exciting to be, it was exciting and it is exciting to kind of be a part of the front row with some really interesting people. And it was a different, it just kind of opens a different light, and, it just shows you a different part of life. And especially for somebody who loves fashion.
Now, you came back to your music roots, 2012.
Yes.
What made you want to come back?
After the separation of, you know, after the separation between
Yes.
me and my ex-husband, I just wanted to, my, children grown up. My father suggested that maybe you should, start looking into something, some kind of work, opportunity, and just keep yourself busy. And I was a bit down at the time, I would say. And,
Of course you were. It was
Yeah.
it's a very
It was
difficult
a-
time
yeah,
for a
yeah,
woman,
yeah,
for
yeah.
any woman, especially when
Actually,
you have three
when
children.
I don't like to really talk so much about my personal life, but
Yeah.
having a long marriage, 3 children, and then after going through a divorce and the whole world kind of
If you're a socialite and you're in the
talking
public
about
eye,
it,
of
and
course.
actually not knowing the truth and talking about a woman and pointing fingers at her, it can be very hard, and it's like a death, actually.
It is like a
Yeah.
lot of people, or people I know who've been through a divorce, have said
Yeah.
it's probably as close to
Yeah, it is. It is.
dying.
And it was a very difficult time. So my father told me you should just do what you love doing.
Kanika, how did you cope?
And my question to him was, but Papa, I have babies. Like, how the hell will I get into music? And
Yeah.
how will I do this? And how will I be accepted? You know. And I have to say that my parents, my brother supported me so much. I have a spiritual guru.
Yes.
He supported me so much and gave me the strength to kind of overcome that moment. And I don't know, over time I became stronger, and my father told me, you must do what you love doing, and life is too short. So what if you have children? You're a young girl and you have a talent. Explore it. The worst thing that can happen is nothing will happen about it.
Yes.
But you always have to try. So that's exactly what I did.
When you did separate, how did you cope with all the attention and all the rubbish that comes along with it? Who helped you cope? What would you advise women who were going through a similar situation?
I think a lot of women go through things that are very similar to mine.
Yes.
And my advice to them is, I think I was lucky that I had a great family support. One thing was that I had a guru who I used to talk to. It was like a spiritual counseling, I would say, which kind of helped me a lot. You have to talk. You have to take out what you have inside. And my parents would always tell me that it's not the end of life. It's okay. Things go, life goes on. Things happen.
But do you think because you were a
People
pretty
always-
girl, and when you're an attractive person or an attractive woman, people like to finger point more?
Of course, the world is like that. But you have to grow above that, and you have to be stronger and brush that away.
Yeah.
You know.
And which you successfully have.
Which I have, and I'm
Well
very proud of
done.
myself.
And so you should be.
So no, but at the time when you're in the middle of it, you just feel like your life is ended, and that oh my God, what next? The whole world is talking so much rubbish about me. They link you to dirty people. They link you to anyone and everyone, and it's really sad that the women in our society
They do it the most,
are the ones who do it the most.
which is very sad.
Which is very sad.
Because men don't usually do this kind of thing.
Men listen and they enjoy it, but I think it's the women, in my case, what I actually saw, because I kind of took a few steps back,
You have to.
and I was my first step was I was in shock that already I'm going through a low, and you have people who are actually just beating you up even more instead of having some compassion for you or
Yeah.
instead of helping you through that moment.
And having 3 children and making your children understand, because you at the same time you have to make your children understand because it's difficult for them.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to cope yourself, you have to be there for your kids also.
Yeah, yeah.
And that leaves you very little time to help yourself.
It does. But in my case, I think my children, were very mature about everything. And they were relatively older. And they supported me a lot too.
Did you ever imagine during that dark time when you had all those women pointing fingers and, when you were on your own, because there's a certain protection that comes with marriage, and when that when you're not married anymore, it takes especially for someone who got married at 18, it takes some time getting used to being on your own again.
Totally.
And did you ever imagine that
It took me 3 years
it took you?
to kind of, um, 3 years of, it was a phase which was, my God, I don't like to go back
I understand.
into that.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to kind of understand and grow. I suddenly grew up,
Yeah.
you know, because when the whole mountain is thrown on you
Yeah.
and you don't know how to kind of save yourself from it, you
But you
learn
never
how.
really grew up, Kanika, before that, because look, from my experience at least, you got married at 18.
Yeah.
People grow up at 8. You know, people are experiencing life at 18, going to university, traveling
Yeah, I
the
did
world.
not. I had none of those.
You didn't have any of those.
Was not allowed any boyfriends. Mom.
Yes. So
My
that.
mom was very strict, and just the first man I ever kind of met, I was married to.
And that
and I had
growing up
children
is
with.
going to happen now.
I think, yeah, I'm living my life the other way around. But I have no regrets actually, because the years that I was married, I actually had a very good life. And I learned a lot from my ex-husband. Actually, he was a
course.
little bit older than me. So I kind of see it in a positive way. I don't like to, there are always, nobody knows what happens behind
Of
two
course.
doors. So you
And that's
cannot.
private.
It's very private, and I don't like to, being a fair person, I cannot point fingers at him or myself or
Of
anybody
course.
else. It's two people, if they don't get on, they move on.
Yes.
And that's how it is. So I don't blame anybody for it.
Now, through this came out something creative.
Absolutely.
You know, through this you had a little ray of sunshine.
The drive.
You know, the drive. And you're very fortunate that you had such a supportive father who encouraged you. Because when you were down, you're really not thinking about upbeat things, to go back to singing. And you then collaborated with Dr. Zeus, and we heard the fantastic Jugni Ji.
Yeah.
Now, this single became huge. Were you expecting it?
No.
What was the reaction? What did you feel?
Oh my God. When I took the song to Dr. Zeus to produce it, none of us even dreamt that the song was going to be. It was a free download. And I produced the video, and we kind of went ahead and just took it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it was a YouTube sensation. And in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, the song just became like huge.
Yeah.
And we had millions of hits. And a couple of months later, I won the British Asian, the award for it, the music award for it. That kind of made me feel like, okay, there's something that I'm worth. Well, how do I put it?
No, obviously, you're
like
somebody you weren't expecting
No,
this
it's nothing. No,
to become an overnight sensation.
I've never thought of that. Yeah.
And not to mention, you looked really pretty in that video with the pink sari and the tika and all that. So I'm sure that added to the downloads also.
Well, thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. But no, I never expected that it was going to become like a huge sensation and would change my life the way it did.
But you also persevered, because when you wanted to go back to your music, or when you did start your music, some people were amused. I mean, is she really going to start a career in music now? Yeah. And I think you shut everyone down.
No, I had actually people, some of my social friends, I would say, and some aunts, some uncles, calling up my mom and dad and saying, "What's wrong with you? Your daughter, I mean, why, she's got 3 children, she's a mother, what are you doing with her? Why are you letting her get into music? And I mean, she really thinks that she's going to become a pop star after 3 children." Yeah, there was a lot thrown on me. And then when it was a success, the next step was, oh my God, who's helping her?
Yes.
So who's the sugar daddy behind her?
Oh God.
So it's really sad that people, they don't recognize that somebody can actually get up and work hard and succeed in life. They always think that there is somebody behind you who's helping you, and that's the only way you can grow in life. And I don't.
It's very difficult sometimes for people to believe in sheer talent.
It does, yeah, but they don't understand. I mean, now, of course, I work with some really great artists, in the world, I would say.
Of course.
And I think that nobody can become famous and sustain it unless there is a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, and a huge amount of talent.
Now,
You will never
obviously,
stand out.
oh, true.
No matter how much money you put in, no matter how much investment you put in, no matter how many sugar daddies you have.
No, listen, if sugar daddies could help you become famous, we'd have a lot of famous women around.
Totally.
You
yes.
know, so you've put that to rest well. What would you say, you know, for women out there, for people in the public eye especially? People love to talk about women on camera, people love to talk about women who are good looking or who look great. How do you combat these vicious rumors? You ignore them? Or do you address them?
You ignore them, ignore them, ignore them. But there comes a time where you just kind of address them in a very polite way. But I think it's not just with artists. Even if you're a housewife,
Yes.
And even if you're a lawyer, you know, anything, any profession. I think the moment you're doing really well and you're excelling, there's always going to be a question, you know. So at every level, but you have to be above all that, really. And that comes with maturity.